Hey there, fabulous. Welcome to Your Marketing Mentor, the entrepreneur podcast where passion meets strategy and authenticity fuels growth. I'm your host, Sherry Sutton, your business growth guide, marketing mentor, and biggest cheerleader on this incredible journey of creating a purposeful and profitable business. Whether you're just starting out or looking to elevate your business to new heights, you're in the right place. With nearly 30 years of experience in strategic omnichannel marketing, I'm here to help you uncover your unique voice, build a profitable business, and make a real impact in the world. In each episode, we'll dive into personalized marketing strategies, authentic content creation, and the complex yet rewarding path of entrepreneurship. Expect practical advice, inspiring stories, and expert interviews, all designed to empower you to show up confidently as the face of your brand. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get ready to create a legacy together, one that not only makes money, but also a difference. You got this, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. All right, let's dive in. I talk to entrepreneurs every single day, and what they tell me is that marketing just feels overwhelming, especially creating content, whether it's emails, blogs, social media content, presentations, training programs that they're doing. It all just feels very overwhelming and very time consuming. And this podcast is designed to help you use AI as a tool for making it much simpler. AI is an incredible way to generate ideas. It's not great at everything. So we're going to talk about that today in this podcast, what it's good for, what it's not good for. This is going to be the first of many podcasts on AI. I started doing the content for today and I was like, this is like 4 hours worth of content. No one wants to listen to me talk for 4 hours. So we're going to break this up into pieces. But today what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about 3 ways that you can start using AI right now to simplify your marketing. So let's dive in. So let me tell you first, those 3 ways that you can use AI to simplify your marketing. The first is to create content ideas using ChatGPT or Claude. So there are many different AI services out there, but I'm going to talk about 4. I was like, how many am I talking about? Couldn't remember. All right, we're going to talk about 4. ChatGPT, which pretty much everyone's heard of at this point. Claude, it's Claude. Perplexity, which is spelled Perplexity, and Jasper, which is Jasper. Those are the 4 we're going to be talking about today. So the first way that you can simplify your marketing is to create content ideas using ChatGPT or Claude. The second is doing market research through Perplexity. And the third is to create draft copy using Claude or Jasper. And I'm going to go into each of these for you here in a minute. So the first one is creating content ideas using ChatGPT or Claude. So I have actually done this myself recently. So I'm putting together a training on podcasting. So how to start a podcast. So excited to launch it. It's going to be coming out towards the end of 2024. This is kind of the middle of 2024 right now that I'm recording this. It's going to come out at the end of 2024, and it's going to tell you everything you need to not only start a podcast, but to market it. And I wanted to make sure that I had kind of captured everything, right? I have now 2 podcasts. I've done training courses on podcasting. I've read a lot about it. I've done a ton of research, but hey, you know what? I could have forgotten something. So I went to ChatGPT and asked it a few things. And here's exactly what I asked. I said, I'm a marketing mentor and I'm working on a training for people wanting to create a podcast. What are the key things that I should include? Now, I had gotten most of the things that it came up with, but there were a few that I was like, oh my God, of course, I forgot that, right? It's an expert that you can go to or a source. I'm not going to call it an expert. It is a source that you can go to kind of get ideas of like, hey, am I doing this right? Am I not doing it right? Did I forget something? That's what I like to use ChatGPT for. Claude is good for that too. Another example of what I used for that Unlock Your Podcast Potential training was what equipment do podcasters recommend? Because I wanted it to not be just what do they recommend, right? What does ChatGPT recommend? Because it's just going to pull out, whatever, who knows. But I want it to look for things that podcasters recommend. So what are the articles that podcasters recommend? And so that's how I came up with not only the list of the technology that I recommended in my course. Then I asked, can you give me examples of the top 5 podcasters' introductory scripts? Because I was writing a piece about how to write your intro script, and I wanted to see what some of the other people do. It's interesting. A lot of the way that people use ChatGPT and the way that I'm recommending it here is it's almost like an alternative to Google. And Google's real scared of ChatGPT and a lot of these others because it's really becoming the main place for search right now. And some of it's because it is most of these chats, and some more than others, are much more conversational. And the answers that they give you are a little bit more robust. You don't just get a list of places where you can research more. It will actually kind of bring all that data together for you. And so I use it, and many people use it as a way of sort of doing a little bit more of an advanced Google search where you want the actual answer. You don't want places you can research for the answer, but you want the actual answer. And Google does this at the top, right? When you Google, it'll say like, AI response, it does, do some of this, in response to what's happening with ChatGPT and others. So it's interesting. So that's really the first way that I recommend that you use these AI platforms is to create content ideas using ChatGPT, right? And we're going to talk in a minute about creating draft content, like actually getting to the next level. But I like using it as a way to come up with ideas. Again, I just talked about the ways that I came up with ideas for one of my, for a training program. It's just a great place to start. I find that for me and for all of my clients, it's always easier to have a place to start than a blank piece of paper. And so it's nice to say, like, even like I did, in this example, I'm a marketing mentor. I'm working on a training about this. What should I include? What shouldn't I include? You could say something like, I've used it for, I recently did like a welcome guide for my guests on a podcast. And so I asked, I think I used ChatGPT, said, hey, tell me what are all the things that I should include in a welcome guide? Or then when someone is being a guest on a podcast, what are the things that they should be thinking about? Because I'm writing a welcome guide for guests on my podcast. And so it's just a great way to help you start with ideas. It's usually not the end of the ideas, but it's a great place to get started. So you're not just looking at a blank piece of paper. Okay, so the second way that I recommend you use AI to simplify your marketing is using it to do market research. And I like Perplexity for this the most of all of the AI platforms. And here's the reason why. Perplexity will give you the source for all of these things. I am a very source-based mentor. I do a lot on gut in my own business, but when I recommend things to my clients, I always try to have them be not only based on my experience, but on market research, right? This is what the research shows. So, I don't go off sort of what influencers say, or what, because I want it to be based on research. So I like using Perplexity for that because I know that it's based in research, or I at least have a source. And I believe that anytime you share anything, it should always be sourced, or you should at least know what the source is, because it can kind of help keep you out of trouble too. So here is an example. So I went into Perplexity and I asked it, what are the best AI tools for doing market research? And of course, it's going to put itself first, which it did, which is okay. I'm cool with that. But it also listed all the sources of where it found that, right? So what are the places where other experts have said that Perplexity is, the platform to go to? So I really like it for that. So I have an upcoming podcast where I'm going to talk about, at the end of 2024, where are people hanging out on social media? Which are the most popular social media platforms for which ages and so forth? So I'll probably use Perplexity as a place to go to say, I want, data driven studies on this. Where can I find those data driven studies? Where people between the ages of 45 and 65, now using social media. Make sure you're only giving me trends, within the last 3 years, or within the last year, if possible, that type of thing. So that's the other way that I use AI, is as a way to get some more market research. The third way that I recommend you use AI to simplify your marketing is using it to create draft content. And you can do this using Claude or Jasper. Those are the two AI tools that have the best writing. ChatGPT does a good job with writing, but it's not great. It's a little clunky. It's a little machine-y. Now, I'm going to give you a caveat on that. In ChatGPT, you can create what's called a custom chat. And I'm going to do a separate training on this. So I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but I've actually done that, where you can upload like all of your brand voice, what you do, words that you use, words that you don't use, emojis that you use, emojis that you don't use, how you like to start your emails, how you like to end your emails. And when you do that, Chat GPT can be a much better place for creating draft content. If you don't know how to do that yet, which is totally cool, I'll teach you. But if you don't know how to do that and you want another place that's going to sound a little bit more like a human and less like a robot, my two go-tos are Claude or Jasper. Now, Claude has a free version. Jasper does not. You can get a trial on Jasper. I haven't used Jasper a ton. I'm just starting to use it now, but everyone that I talk to in marketing says that Jasper, especially if you create kind of a customized version where you get your own voice. Again, you're uploading, like, here's the things that this is my tone of voice. These are the words that I like to use. These are the words I don't. Then it does a great job of creating copy for you. So those are the two that I would recommend. My go-to is Claude, but you can use any of these. I want to take a second and talk a little bit about the fact that this is meant to be draft content. So I don't recommend using AI as a place to do all your content right out of the gate. I find that it still tends to be, no matter which of these platforms you use, it tends to be a little machiney. It tends to not quite get your voice right, but it is a great place to start. It is a great place to get a draft that you can, though, go and edit. And I'm working on an in-person seminar happening next month, and it's called Consistent Content Made Simple Using AI. And we're going to go through this in vast amounts of detail, exactly what to say, exactly what to do, and all of that. But I like to use it as a draft. Don't see it as sort of the final end all be all, because it's not gonna sound quite right. Also, Google is getting wise to when content is AI generated. So if you use, let's say, ChatGPT or Claude or Jasper, and you say, write me a blog on, such and such topic, you want to be very careful because you want to make some changes to it. Because if you just copy and paste it and use it, there is some concern by the people who know things about Google that Google will not show those blogs on their platform, right? In their search results. So we don't totally know how all this is new, right? We don't know exactly how that's going to shake out. But for now, use AI as a place to do a draft that you can then edit enough that it's in your voice, that it's, a little bit more authentic, not only because you want to connect with your audience, but also because you want to make sure that you don't lose your Google optimization down the road. So, all right, I want to show you. Oh, well, all of my slides aren't here, so I'm just going to talk. For those of you who are listening and not watching this on YouTube, I have slides, but they're not showing right now. So I wanted to show you guys, or I'll just walk you through it. I was meeting with a client the other day. Her name's Dr. Alex Santiago. She is incredible. She has a direct primary care practice in Frisco, Texas. And we were working on her social media strategy, and we decided that once a week she's going to do a post about why direct primary care is different. Essentially, it means that you don't go through the insurance company, you go directly to the doctor, and when you do that, it's a lot cheaper. It's the net of it. But we were like, okay, what are some of the things that we could talk about, right? And she was like, I just feel like it's really overwhelming to come up with ideas. I'm like, great. Let's head over to Claude. So we headed over to Claude, and we said, okay, I'm a direct primary care doctor, and I am writing a series of social media posts about why direct primary care is better for patients. Can you please give me I think I said, can you please give me the ideas for what the content should be and what should be included on the graphics? And so it came up with a list of, here's the idea, right? Here's what you want to talk about. Here's what would be on the graphic. So we did that. And then I said, great, can you write the actual captions for these? And so they said, it gave me all of the captions, and they were pretty good. A lot of them, I know I said earlier that you want to use AI as a place to draft things, but boy, it's okay if you find, if they hit something out of the park, great, go for it. I wouldn't do it for blogs because of what I mentioned earlier, but for social media content, I still think it's okay. That might change, but that's okay for now. And then, I didn't love what it came back with. So I was like, can you make the captions a little longer? Can you make sure, you might say, can you make sure to include these things? And it will you just keep rewriting for you. And then you can take those things as a draft. The other cool thing you could do in that case is you could say, I want to make these reels instead of just posts with a graphic. Can you give me an idea of what the content should be on the reel? So what images or videos should be in the reel, and what the script should be. And it will actually write it all out for you. Sometimes they're a little clunky, and you can just use them as a start. I've used them, and I'm like, okay, this is what it says. I don't like the way it's saying it. Let me change this to this, and then it sounds more like my voice, and go. But again, it's a much easier way to start, especially if you're one of those people who is like, if you stare at a blank piece of paper, you're like, I have no idea how to start. Using AI to start generating at least the draft of the content is an incredible way to start. I'll give you another example. I am hoping to maybe do some adjunct professorship. So wish me luck. And excuse me, I met someone the other day, and they offered to introduce, who works in academia. They offered to introduce me to some of their professors. And so I was like, okay, I have to I need to write a cover letter, staring at the blank piece of paper in the email. I'm like, what am I doing? I'll just go over to, I'll go over to Claude, So actually, I think I use ChatGPT because I have a custom chat that's got all my voice in it. And so I went over and I said, I uploaded my resume. I said, here's my resume. I'm applying to be a professor at such and such university. And it knows what I do now because I've uploaded everything into my custom chat. Here's my resume. Please write me a draft introduction that someone could send to the head of the department to introduce me. And what it came up with was fantastic. It was, 75% what I would want, but it gave me a start. It made it so much simpler. So that email that might have taken me 2 hours to draft, it was just coming out of my brain because I had something that was giving me the first draft of it. I was able to get that email out in 10 minutes and move on with my day. So that's one of the third great way of using AI. So the three things that I recommend you do with AI, there's a lot more, and we're going to again do a lot more podcasts on this down the road. But for now, I want you to walk away with three things. One is using it to kind of generate ideas for your content. So you could be like, what are the top things that entrepreneurs who are doctors are worried about, right? That might be something that that I might ask. Or, the example that I used of I'm writing a training on this. What are the things I should include? So one is using it as a resource for just coming up with ideas in general, but definitely for your definitely for content. The second is to use it as market research. I think anything you do, you should always include some market research, and I love Perplexity for that. And the third thing is using it as a way to do draft content. Final content, maybe not, but draft content for sure. And it's a great resource for that. So, couple things that I wanted to mention. This is my words of wisdom / caution. The first is the more you give these AI systems, the more you're going to get out. So you're going to have to be very specific. It's almost like speaking to a toddler and trying to teaching it how to walk, right? You want to be very specific. So I'm a marketing mentor. I'm doing this. This is the type of person I'm talking to. These are the concerns that they have. My tone of voice is this. It's very important to tell it lots of things. You're going to feel like you're having to over prompt, but I promise you, the more prompts you give it and the better you get at prompting, the better the results are going to be that come out. Now, the second piece of wisdom, which is connected, is you need to have a very strong business and marketing strategy before you start using these AI platforms, because you want to feed into it exactly what you're trying to do in your business, who you serve, what your unique value proposition is, what your tone of voice is, why you're different, because otherwise, the only thing that's going to come out is going to be incredibly generic and is going to be the same stuff that everyone else is coming out with. So meeting with someone like me, who's a marketing mentor and a business coach who can help you put together that overall marketing and business plan so that you have that ready. You need that as a tool to put into the AI to get out of it what you want. You're not, if you ask ChatGPT or any of these other ones to develop that for you, it's not going to be as customized as you need in order to stand out in the marketplace. And you're going to have the same content and the same marketing as everyone else. And we're going to start seeing that among people who haven't really worked on their differentiation. We're going to start seeing all of their content looking exactly the same. My third word of caution is don't use AI to make pictures especially of other people. It's weird. It's creepy, even of yourself. Unless you're going to make fun of yourself, that's cool. But I think that these AI images are super creepy. Other people do too. My whole practice as a marketing mentor is built on being very authentic and being yourself. And so I wouldn't use AI to do any imagery of yourself. People will smell a fake a mile away. So There are many other ways to use AI, and I will do many more podcasts on AI in the future. But if you have any questions or you want to dive into some of the things that we've talked about, let me know. I work with individuals one-on-one who are just starting their business or who've been in business for a little bit, to sort of aren't getting any traction, know they need to be doing more marketing, but just don't know what to do and are kind of overwhelmed with the idea. And they're like, should I be doing social media, but I don't want to dance on TikTok? Should I be doing blogs? Should I be paying for Google ads? Do I need you Google my business account? What are all the things that I need to do and what do I need to think about without having to spend a bunch of time and money that isn't going to move the needle? And so that's exactly what I help you do. And then I help to create content with you and teach you all the things that you need to know to kind of DIY it for a little while. Or I'll also help you find agencies or other resources, VAs, who can do a lot of that work for you. So if that sounds like something you need, give me a holler. You can find me at sherrysutton.com. And if you just want to hang out for one session and see how AI could work in your business, I'd love to do that with you as well. Again, you can book those on my website at sherrysutton.com, and stay tuned for more great advice on using AI to simplify your marketing. Have a great day. And that's a wrap of today's episode of Your Marketing Mentor. I hope you found some valuable insights and feel inspired to take action in your business. Remember, you have the power to create a purposeful and profitable business. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe, and leave a comment. Your feedback helps me create content that truly serves you. And don't forget to share this podcast with your friends and fellow entrepreneurs. Let's spread the love and help more mission-driven businesses thrive. Stay connected to me on social media and visit my website for more resources, tips, and support. I'm here to walk alongside you every step of the way. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep shining and keep growing.